1960 was a transitional year for America. As the Eisenhower administration was winding down, the country was about to embark on one of the wildest decades in American history. The Pennsylvania highway construction industry was also in transition. After positioning itself as a highway leader with completion of the Turnpike nearly 50 years earlier, the Keystone State had lost its transportation edge. There was little long-term planning, and priorities tended to change with a new governor every 4 years. Construction of the interstate highway system was moving forward. Pennsylvania's portion of this new highway system was to total 1,500 miles, and nearly 200 miles of it had been completed and open to traffic. But leaders of Pennsylvania's highway construction industry knew that things needed to change. At an industry convention in Atlantic City, they began to lay plans for several major changes that would reshape how the industry does business. The vehicle for making these changes would be the Pennsylvania Highway Information Association, the nation's first statewide highway advocacy group. Running it would be a Texan named Guy Gunn, who had moved to Harrisburg the previous year to help run Associated Pennsylvania Constructors. On May 4, 1960, PHIA's Articles of Incorporation were signed and submitted. Its charter members were APC President Max Hempt, Michael Baker Jr., Daniel Parrish, Robert Cleveland, and L.E. Jordan. With the rallying cry of highways save time, lives, and money, Gunn set out to motivate businesses, groups, and individuals who shared the desire to invigorate Pennsylvania's highway program. By the end of the first year, PHIA had a presence in all 67 counties of Pennsylvania and more than 300 volunteers.
Well, I think they felt it was an important factor in spreading the word, the value of good highways, and especially the safety aspects. Safety should not be overlooked.
As a result, the transportation budget began to grow from $138 million in 1960 to nearly $400 million by the mid-60s.
That was very important. That really established the establishment of the Highway Commission, now the Transportation Commission, and with it, in conjunction with it, the 12-year program, which was a first for Pennsylvania.
With the 12-year plan in place and more resources available, Pennsylvania focused on building its portion of the interstate highway system. As the system neared completion, the impact of Pennsylvania and its residents was immense, and PHIA's outreach efforts helped to make sure that the transition was a smooth one.
I think mostly it brought people closer together. It eliminated a lot of long commuter trips for people. Particularly, it improved economic development because of the interchanges where businesses began locating there because of travel, the opportunities that businesses had to grow.
With most of the Pennsylvania interstate highway system completed, Guy Gunn retired in 1979 and returned to his native Texas to consult and play golf. His legacy set a high standard for those who would later lead the organization. Highway safety had always been another focus of PHIA. In 1982, the organization formalized its safety efforts by creating the PHIA Road Safety Initiative Awards. The program recognized local efforts to improve road safety. Over the years, recipients have included townships, boroughs, and counties that have worked with PennDOT on design, signals, signage, and other improvements that enhance safety. In 1983, PHIA's public outreach efforts helped to break the stalemate over federally mandated emission standards. The dispute had resulted in the withholding of $400 million in federal funding. Although the organization does not lobby, PHIA's outreach efforts have helped to advance numerous public policy initiatives, including the most recent gasoline tax increase in 1997.
Both PennDOT, I believe, and APC, and of course PHIA, which does not lobby, of course, but we spread the word as best we could throughout the Commonwealth. And I think the general public realized that there was a need there. I know after it was passed, there were a few negative stories. I asked my own state rep, and I said, well, what reaction did you get? He voted for it. And he said, oh, I got about a half a dozen phone calls. That was it. It was all over.
Well, no account of the history of PHIA would be complete without examining the life and times of Frankie PHIA. Frankie was everywhere, He was the brainchild of Guy Gunn.
Guy Gunn. Guy Gunn was a former school teacher out of Texas, and then he became the contractor director of the American Road Builders Association. He came to Pennsylvania in 1956, 58 or something in that general area. And he created PHIA. He's the man behind the Frankie.
Frankie appeared at every PHIA conference and special event and was photographed more frequently than some A-list Hollywood celebrities. PHIA members were eager to identify themselves as friends of Frankie. So often was Frankie portrayed as the industry's voice, he received letters from a legion of admirers, and many were published in the PHIA newsletters. The list of PHIA leaders over the years is a who's who of highway contractors and business leaders. PHIA was founded just as Pennsylvania was starting out on a grand highway plan. It observed its silver anniversary in 1985 as Pennsylvania was tying that plan together. Now, as it turns 50, PHIA has come full circle. Faced with capacity and funding challenges, PHIA endeavors once again to promote a grand plan that will improve safety, relieve congestion, and make life better for all who use our highways.
In a lot of ways, the next 50 years are just as critical as the last 50. And moving forward, we still have to continue to be aware that the motor license fund that makes up the way Pennsylvania funds its roads and bridges needs to have dedicated and inflation-sensitive funding mechanisms so that the program can grow with the economy and with the state as a whole. And therefore, PHIA has to continue to be the voice for the highway industry, if you will, in making sure that those things are a key part of the public policy arena.
Even though the mission remains the same, PHIA's outreach efforts have changed considerably in the digital age.
We launched this year a new PHIA website, but it's a unique website in that we're trying to create conversations with the general public about issues. And so instead of just posting information or posting news that PHIA has always been known to do, we are now asking people to give us feedback, tell us what is important, tell us how transportation and highways and good, well-funded highways impact their lives. And we're embracing some of the current trendy things that are going on in the computer age today, such as Facebook and Twitter and direct RSS feeds, and while still using traditional email and other sort of printed material. So we're trying to embrace more ways to communicate and carry our message to the public.
PHIA truly is a highway users organization. Its members consist of highway construction companies, design engineering firms, highway material suppliers, freight trucking companies, AAA, local and state chambers of commerce, local government associations, tourism promotion associations, and agricultural groups. With the support of its members, PHIA looks forward to the next 50 years, continuing its commitment to a safe and modern highway system in Pennsylvania.